Yeah. Good afternoon, podcast community. We are so excited. Of 300 podcasts, we have never had a father daughter on our show. So today, we are now having our first father daughter podcast. So I want to let Megan first introduce who she is. No, wait, who she is, what she does, and who she serves. And then, Charlie, if you could do right after your daughter, that would be awesome.
Wonderful. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Megan Novak, and I am a community sales director over at the Solana East Cobb Assisted Living and Memory Care. And it is my pleasure to serve the senior population and their families in helping them find the right fit in a potential community for them and their loved ones.
That is awesome. I love that. Charlie, how about yourself?
Hi, I'm Charlie Novak, and I am the proud father, very proud father of a wonderful young lady, my daughter Megan,
Yes.
and I really could not be any more proud of her. What a wonderful person.
When I first met her for the first time at our Atlanta Senior Care, I forget the initials, whatever it was, a big event. Megan has a presence. She just brings joy into the room, and it was like we just started talking, and she started talking about music, and then she talked about you enjoying music. So tell me, was music part of her growing up? Was that something that she liked to do? Did you teach her something that she's kept on doing it?
Yeah, I would say probably from the time she started to walk.
Right.
There was always music playing in the house, and this is back in the time of vinyl records.
Right.
And she would say, Dad, put it on side B. I want to hear, Danny Davis and the National Brass.
Yeah.
And always patriotic songs, but she loved it. And it just continued from there right up until she was old enough to play an instrument where
Right.
I talked her into playing the trumpet as I did, which was it was a tough sell at the time. She said,
Yes.
girl, that's not a girl's instrument. I don't want to play a girl
Yeah.
play instrument. But
Yeah.
we came to love it.
Absolutely.
So Megan, what did you like about, that music journey? And tell us a little bit about, was there difficulty getting into playing that trumpet?
So I had been playing since I was 8. So I had started in elementary school, and at that time, chorus was in elementary schools, and we were learning the recorder, but there was no kind of organized band or kind of thing. So for a very long time, I was playing solo trumpet at home, practicing a lot, and it wasn't really until middle school and then obviously high school and college that I really got to experience just kind of the fun and joy of playing music with other people. I always say, there are a lot of instruments that are beautiful solo, piano, and people really listen to the piano to listen to just the piano. But playing the trumpet in high school orchestras, bands, marching bands, jazz bands, brass quartets, quintets, everything really, that's really where I started to really appreciate and love playing music with other people. And I always kind of say, if there was there's our professional orchestras and things like that, that obviously wasn't the path I decided to take, but I can see how that's, really, really fulfilling for people. And that's what I really love the most.
Yeah. I go to a PT, and I was remarking about the music that they were playing. And she said, such and such has recommended these tunes, and he's there for Parkinson. And then I started kind of asking around, and I met a gentleman at the Senior Resource Fair, and they do music for Parkinson. So have you seen anything like that with your seniors, like the love of music, what it does, and just the general nature of music?
Absolutely. So not going the professional musician route. I actually am a board certified music therapist. So I have been studying music and music therapy for quite some time. And there are specific, music therapy practices, techniques for a variety of conditions, symptoms, even just like for enjoyment and engagement with the senior population. And in that branch, I mean, especially in our memory care and for residents with Alzheimer's and dementia, using music therapy as a way to spark reminiscence, to, just kind of bring that joy out. I have some residents here who, may not know what day of the week it is, what's really kind of going on. Their reality awareness is really hindered, but they can sing every single song that they sang in church as a child. And so to watch that kind of light come on for them and that joy out of that probably very scary confusion is something that really is so simple and plain to a lot of us. I say, when we have a bad day, people listen to their favorite song, to bring out emotions. And so utilizing music in a therapeutic way has just been, it's kind of like an obvious thing for a lot of musicians, I think, but to see other, disciplines in therapy, physical therapy, especially retraining the body to walk again using certain rhythmic beats that are internalized, actually is a great way to kind of showcase that as well.
Yeah, I love that. I used to live over at Overture, where the average age was 80 over there. But when we would bring in people to, like, there was a resident there, and he was a years, like 50 years of playing the guitar and performing and all that. When the best attended events were the ones he did, because just what you said, people connect with the past memory of song.
Absolutely.
And they just enjoy, that song coming back, and you think about what I was doing back when I remembered that, when I was playing that song. So Charlie, what got you into music?
My father.
Really?
my father, all he wanted me to do was play Cherubera Bin by Harry James.
Yeah.
From the 40s.
Dang.
And it went on forever and ever and ever. And he was a perfectionist, and he'd tell me, not quite. How about the Carnival of Venice?
Uh-huh.
And then he told me, he says, when I die, I want you to play Cherubera Bin at my funeral. And I'm like, I can't do this. But he had a military funeral, and when the color guard came out, I walked over to the Navy trumpet player and it said, I'll play taps.
Wow.
And just not a dry eye.
Yeah.
I cried like a baby.
Yeah, I can certainly understand that. It's very, music is so emotional, and it's so, like you said, Megan, therapeutic. I mean, obviously you do it as therapy. So tell our viewers, like, what did that spur you to do some of that in your career, like music therapy? And
It certainly did. And I think when I was getting my master's degree, so I have an undergraduate degree in classical music from the University of Miami, and then kind of wasn't sure where to go next. And my family had decided, and I'm an only child, so it's just the three of us. Mom's not here. We always let her play the tambourine, though, in the background. But they were moving up to the New York, New Jersey area, and there's a Montclair State University has a very respected and well-known music therapy program. So that's what I decided to kind of pursue, excuse me. And I did an internship at a VA hospital for 6 months, working with veterans, long-term care, kind of skilled nursing, and then also acute and chronic psychiatry. And, I really kind of fell in love with doing music, but it was intense. It's intense to kind of handle all of those emotions on a daily basis. It's intense to then try and be a professional musician, because at the end of the day, it's not just kind of going in and playing a cassette. I'm learning guitar, I'm learning piano, I'm learning a sort of percussion. So when I moved back to Atlanta, I knew that I loved working with seniors. I always kind of say, I think I'm a 95-year-old inside. That's just kind of where my spirit has always been. So I decided to kind of pursue the activities, kind of recreation therapy activities realm, and did some music therapy, but also was, doing some more traditional activities, arts, bingo, exercise groups, fitness, different things like that. And I kind of did that at a skilled nursing, and then ended up at Solana when we opened 5.5 years ago, and did engagement all through COVID, and was maybe ready to look for more knowledge and to expand my scope of practice with working with seniors and their families. And that's really how I got my foot in the door of sales. I have a wonderful mentor, Mary, who worked at Solana, and she said, come and see and learn and see if this is something you'd be interested in. And I kind of been doing that ever since.
Wow, that is a wonderful journey. What would now in the activities area that you're doing at Solana? What have you found to be some of the more popular activities that you put on the calendar and that the residents respond to?
I will say, well, I always kind of make a joke that if there's wine or snacks, that's the most popular activity. But
Yes.
it's very interesting. Solana is a unique community in that, we serve all age ranges, late 60s all the way up to 100. But what I have found is that while we may not be young in number, we are young in spirit. So fitness, I mean, we have a group of ladies and gentlemen that go to fitness 7 days a week. And if it's not on the calendar, they want to know why. I would say the music activities, happy hours, just social, just getting together and spending time together. We also have a very, diverse religious community. So I would say Shabbat starts on Friday and they bring communion on Sunday. So Bible studies, kind of those faith-based activities as well, bring a really great, joy and community presence.
Yeah, I talk to our viewers about I when I was at Overture, I would always encourage the residents to plug in and do things, and because isolation is a
Yeah,
recipe
absolutely.
for disaster. And I had a resident right next to me, and I went over to meet her, and I said, "Yeah, come on down to breakfast. I'll introduce you to some people." And she goes, "Well, I'm an introvert." I said, "Well, we have introverts down there. I mean, it's just,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
the main thing is connecting, you
Yeah.
know, connecting with people." So, what could you tell our viewers, like at Solana, like the activities seem to be the nucleus to
Mhm.
connect. What
Absolutely.
what do you when you are talking to the residents and they're talking about those different activities? Are you planning out 6 months, or are you asking them for what they want to, what kind of activities they're interested in? How do you go about that?
Yeah, and so I mean, we're lucky enough at Solana to have a full-time engagement team. So we all kind of work together. Jamie is our engagement director, and she has a great team there. So really collaboratively, we do plan a lot of the big events. We do have several things that people are looking forward to. The holidays are a great time. Just last night, I hosted a family night bingo, which is something so simple. But it gives the adult children an opportunity to come in, be with their loved one, and have something to connect with and do. So you're not just sitting and asking questions and putting pressure. What'd you have for lunch today? What's going on? So kind of those opportunities to have a normal social or typical social interaction with your loved one. And our memory care residents participated as well. So sometimes it's, having those really big, exciting events, but then also simple things, just easy kind of things to get you out into the community. Something that we also really do is we do have resident ambassadors, and they are the extroverts of our community, and they knock on doors and invite and sit with people at lunch.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
We do ambassador in our program, but I love that word because it communicates that connection. And that would have been great at
Yeah.
Overture because you want the residents to be reaching out, because
Exactly.
sometimes people, they just need some encouragement, like, "Hey, come on down to bingo." And if you're an
I'll
ambassador,
sit with you, so it
yeah,
doesn't feel like the
exactly.
first day of
It's
school.
intimidating. You move in we got name tags for the residents because they move in and you have to learn 175 names. I mean,
Right.
175 names, I don't care how old you are. It's not easy.
No.
You're just trying to fit in, and you're gonna, oh, did I meet Megan yesterday? Is she Mary? Is she Megan? You know, and you
Right,
don't
right.
ask. Once you ask one time, you feel, oh, I've already asked her name. But we did that, and it just started to connect better.
Absolutely.
People, like, they see your name, it's big enough. I mean, big letters, so you can see it from 10 feet. You don't have to come up and look really
Right.
close at somebody. So I want to get to you, Charlie, because this is your chance to share some things about your daughter. So growing up, we always have, I've heard the 27 is the age that our brain fully develops. So before Megan was 27, when she was just navigating through her life, what kind of trouble did she get in? Like, did she a perfect child, or did she get into trouble that you could share? Like, oh, Megan, what did you do that for?
Well, I've got to say, anytime she was in trouble,
Yeah.
she was with me.
Oh, okay. Nice. Hey, look, that is a great father who takes the responsibility and embraces
Yeah.
the daughter. That is awesome.
My wife comes out of the house when we lived up on top of the mountain in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And we're both surfing on top of the Ford Taurus station wagon, in 4 feet of snow. And I went, what is going on?
Yeah, that is
So,
so good.
Equal. But yeah, she was a pretty good kid.
Yeah.
I mean, she would push back
Yes.
when she was younger. She probably had a little bit of my personality and, the sensitivity of my wife. So you know where that goes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Do you
Push back and be sensitive.
I'm always curious of the route that people take with her being so interested in music and moving on that path. If we keep our kids like focused on activities they enjoy, and I, the old thing, idle time is never good.
Right.
Was your intention of really finding out what she was interested in and letting her pursue it? What was that journey, that decision, or that journey?
I think in the beginning, I probably pushed her into it.
Yeah.
And eventually, she loved it. And she reminds me all the time, which is that if I get into the U at Miami,
Yeah.
says, how? She says, if you can get in, I'll figure out a way to pay for it.
Wow. So good.
But she came to the crossroads. She was a phenomenal softball player.
Really? Yeah.
And it came down to going to, the girls' World Series one year during the summer, and band camp started that week.
Wow.
And she had to pick, and it was her first year in high school, and she had to pick, what am I going to do? And she said, I'm going to go to band camp and not play in the World Series.
Wow.
So at that point, she had staked her claim on what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
And from there on.
So was that Megan at like 18?
I was probably, it was right before I started high school. So it was maybe 14.
Okay.
Yeah, right before then. So as a 14-year-old about to make, really, big decision probably, and I don't know how much I thought about it then. I think graduating from college, I wasn't really sure. And I got, some scholarship offers to study music. And it was, that's a commitment. You're taking 21 credits a semester. You are, I had moved to Miami from Kennesaw. So I was 14 hours away from home. Didn't really know anybody. And, day one, they're going, all right, auditions.
Wow.
And I had never really played. My professor was the former trumpet player for the Chicago Symphony Orchestra.
Wow.
Yeah. And so as an 18-year-old, girl walking in and being like, okay, and my mom and dad just got on a plane. They left me here in this dorm room and I'm going to go and play my trumpet for the former CSO, trumpet player. And here we go. So
did that help you? I mean, I don't know your journey freshman year, but everybody, including myself, they jump into freshman, they have all this freedom, and then they kind of go wild. Did you
I will
find that
say,
music kept you on track, or did you have a little bit of wildness in you?
well, I will say the music department. So basically, it was, I don't know, 15, 19, and 20-year-old gentlemen and two 18-year-old girls, and they're like, come out, we'll show you the town. And so they all kind of treat us like big brothers, and they made sure we were always safe and everything. But we were definitely, I think music school kids have a certain reputation, but I think, anytime anyone's going away to college for the first time and, away from home, you're going to maybe explore a little bit more than you would have, going, in high school or things like that. But I think it definitely kept me, I mean, taking 21 credits a semester, I had 8 a.m. music theory, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so there was a lot of built-in parameters and boundaries for me. So
that's so good. So what was your choice going to Miami? Because I went to Virginia Tech and we just finished a football game.
We sure did.
We weren't too happy with the end outcome.
I'm so sorry. Well, I told you my parents' dog's name is Al Golden, so we're big Miami fans in this house.
I know that was a sincere you're sorry, because I have a really good friend that goes there, and we always go back and forth with each other. Y'all have had many more times of celebrating than we've had. I thought
recently, though, I will say when I was there, I think you gave us a run for the money every time, including last Friday. So
yeah, they've been some good games. I was up in Blacksburg after I'd gotten out. I only went there 2 years, but I would go back. My brother was he volunteered and was at the gate, so I could get into the games before they changed that, once they got bigger. But yeah, so I saw Miami and Virginia Tech play at Blacksburg when it was just a classic game.
Always.
It always are battles.
Every year.
So what do you think, like your future with Solana is like, what do you enjoy most about what you're doing right now?
So there's a couple of things, definitely. I sort of like the routine, but also the unpredictability, I suppose. I kind of know every day what's going to go, what I'm kind of walking into. And I've been at Solana since day one, so I'm kind of spoiled in that regard. But kind of every day, part of what I do is really to kind of deep dive into why someone's looking for a senior living community. Yeah. And to really kind of be that sounding board and sometimes emotional support as well for spouses, adult children. I always I do some of the training at Solana for new employees. And during the training, I say, we're we work in someone's house. And some adult child or spouse went to their loved one and said, I'm taking your keys, I'm taking your wallet, we're selling your house, your beautiful house. You can't drive anymore, no more cooking, we have to downsize, and we're going to move you into this old people home. Right? Yeah. And our job is to make them feel like that's not what's happening. Mm-hmm. Right? And it's really nice that I do feel like there is a shift in senior living to get away from that old people home. And thank goodness for skilled nursing communities for people that need that level of care. But, it's not just a bunch of wheelchairs sitting in an all-purpose room with a TV on. We are a vibrant community. We're doing those activities we talked about. So, I don't know what the future holds for me in, as far as career. I know what I'm doing right now is very important, and I enjoy it every day.
Yeah.
Will that continue on to another level or at a different community? I mean, I think only time will tell.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Charlie, tell me like the funniest thing you could share with our community, not to embarrass Megan, but just to kind of give us a little story about something that sticks out about her growing up.
About her what?
growing up.
Growing up.
Growing
up.
I mean, okay, she's on the rooftop surfing on. So yeah, that's good right there. Is there anything else you might be able to share with our viewers?
I don't know. The time you didn't go to cheerleader camp.
Oh, I almost, yeah, my career as a cheerleader ended very early on because I was quite fresh.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell a story. You know, I always, you know, my parents are very big on learning lessons. And one time there was an audition. I was maybe, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, maybe. And I did not prepare for the audition, but you actually had to apply to get an audition spot. And I didn't practice. And they said, well, you took someone else's spot and you're going to go and do this audition. And I said, well, I didn't practice. And they go, so I went up there, probably played, I don't know, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, maybe, I don't know. And they said, how did that go? How did that feel? And, you know, I think a lot of times, you know, my parents have always been so supportive of everything, mistakes, you know, we recover from them and everything. But I think that is, you know, maybe not funny. It may have been funny to them, laughing afterwards, like maybe she'll learn a lesson this time. But, you know, we've had, you know, that we call ourselves the Novak trio because, you know, as an only child, you know, I really got to have a relationship with my parents. I don't think everyone else gets to have. And I really think that's shaped, you know, not only me personally, but professionally as well.
That's so good. And I love that you're serving our seniors. So why don't you tell our viewers, how could they get a hold of you?
Sure. So, like I said, my name's Megan Novak. There's two of us. So my not co-pilot, but my co-worker, Mary Bennett, we are both the community sales director over at the Solana East Cobb. It's kind of in that Roswell, Marietta, Sandy Springs niche. And we are part of the Arbor Company. So if you've heard of the Arbor Company, they have several locations in the metro Atlanta area. But my cell, my phone is 678-923-2809. And also you can call the community directly. It's just the Solana East Cobb. And I hopefully will hear from you and would love to show anyone around and answer any senior living questions that might come up.
That is awesome. I want to thank you for that. So tell, as we close down, I'll go Megan first and then Charlie next. What would you want our viewers to take home from our time on the podcast? What would be the one thing?
Sure. You know, I think that something that we really touched on is just taking simple moments. You know, music, something that is so universal to the human experience that can just be used in so many ways. It's obviously shaped my life and my dad's life and our family's life. But, you know, sometimes just sitting with someone enjoying music, a concert, or joining your loved one for a happy hour, or even, you know, putting on music in the background. I think it really kind of connects us all as a human race as well.
That is awesome, man. I love that, Charlie. That's going to be hard to
Yeah. I think back to talking to the faculty as Megan graduated from Miami, and I told them, says, you know, I dropped off a nice little girl here at your school, the wildest, possibly in the Southeast. It says, and you guys on your own have turned out a wonderful young lady. And they really did. She went in one way and came out.
Yeah. That's what we hope for and pray for, because that is precious. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Charlie. That is so good. So I want to thank you both for being our guests on the podcast. And we really enjoyed having time with both of you to just kind of, you know, have that first father-daughter podcast. Now I can say I've got a father and a father-daughter. So now we've achieved the highest level.
Oh, and we even brought our own self-portrait. So this was taken about 20 years ago.
Really?
This photo up there on the wall. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can see that now. Yes. All right, look at that community. You can see.
That was going to be Megan's album cover.
So good. So thank you all both so much for
Thanks so much, Pete.
our community, your journeys.
Thank you
Appreciate
so much.
You're
We enjoyed it.
Thank you so
Pleasure to
much.
meet you and talk with you again.